And welcome to the Watchman from Jerusalem. If you watch this show each week, you know that one of my very favorite places in all of Israel is the city of David, ancient Jerusalem. The great archaeologists of the Israel Antiquities Authority continue to make amazing discoveries from Bible times that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt the Jewish people's ancestral historic presence here in the land of Israel. Now this week we're back at the city of David and we have a special treat for you. Two top archaeologists from the Israel Antiquities Authority, Nachshon Zanton and Moran Hajbi, are going to take us on a journey to the time of the Second Temple, the time of Jesus, as we walk along the incredibly well-preserved remains of a 2,000-year-old street here in Jerusalem that led up to the temple. It tells the story of what life was like during the time of Jesus and what the Jewish people faced as Roman legions closed in and destroyed the Second Temple. So get ready for a Bible study and history lesson rolled into one as we go underground and into an active archaeological dig at the city of David. Well, Nachshon, this is one of the most exciting segments we have ever done here on the Watchman Show, without a doubt. Where we are walking right now is not just any road. Tell us about the road we are walking down right now, why it is so significant.
Well, it's a monumental staircase from the Second Temple period, 2,000 years ago.
Wow.
You can see it preserved so well.
It is so well preserved. When we first walked in, Nachshon, I couldn't believe it. You said, this is the road.
The original.
I said, this is the original. This is 2,000 years old. Now, why is it so well preserved?
It's covered by a destruction layer of 70 CE.
From when the Romans destroyed the temple.
Right. In this destruction layer, we have coins from year 2 and 3 of the rebellion.
The Jewish rebellion against the Romans. That's right.
Right. Here you have also another cover stone of the drainage channel here.
Wow.
You can see. The rebellion also used this place to hiding from the Roman legions. And next to this area...
So rebels hid in this, where we're looking right now. Rebels, Jewish rebels, actually hid down there in the drainage channel.
Right. Eli Shukron and Ronnie Reich excavated this channel.
Two great archaeologists, of course.
Yes. Found inside of it Gladys, sword of the legion. Inside this drainage channel.
So Roman swords.
Right.
So basically, Nachshon, Jewish rebels were making their last stand down there in the drainage channel. The Romans went down to finish the job, I guess you would say.
Yes, to finish the job.
People are probably wondering what these bags are. Tell us what's in the bags.
All the dirt from the excavation, we need to take it out to the sifting project.
Exactly.
As you can see, the locust, the basket. Okay.
And they're sifting through this, Nachshon, and they're finding. Tell us what they're finding.
Okay. If you are taking it down and sift it, maybe you can find pottery shards. If you are lucky, you find coins, glass shards.
From 2,000 years ago.
Of course. Of course.
Unbelievable. And every day, and by the way, folks, these bags are going non-stop all day with find after find, and your team and the Israel Antiquities Authority, you're going through this and you're just making these amazing finds non-stop.
Yes, 5 years now.
Now, this was also obviously in use during the time of Jesus. It's a good bet that Jesus and his disciples walked this road on their way up to the temple.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know, but if you're asking if the time periods
match up,
it could be.
Wow.
It could be.
Bring the road alive for us a little bit more now. We're walking, you and I are having this stroll right now. We're talking, it's quiet, obviously. But again, just so the viewers can get an image of what this was like 2,000 years ago during the time of the Second Temple. Imagine that. This place was so alive, and especially during the holidays and festivals, I can imagine.
Yes, imagine in the festivals, thousands of peoples, children, women, coming here. It's very crowded because magnificent buildings standing in this side of the road.
Beautiful shops on either side, private residences, as you said.
Right. And imagine their feeling, not my feeling, their feeling, coming to Jerusalem, a long distance, a long journey, and every step they made in this road, every step taking them more closely to the Temple Mount.
And Nachshon, key point there. Two things real quick. Number one, this wasn't just residents of Jerusalem who used this road. Pilgrims from all over Israel came here for a pilgrimage to the Temple Mount. And as you said, the anticipation of walking up this road, up and up, you're ascending up to the Temple Mount. Tell our viewers why that was so special.
Well, it's not just from Israel. It's all over the world that people come.
The Jewish diaspora.
Yes, and even not Jewish people come to see the Temple Mount and see Jerusalem. It was the focal point of the community of the Jewish people in Israel and outside of Israel. But it was a really special city in the Roman period.
Yeah, Jerusalem and the temple was such a magnificent structure, of course. But we're just getting started here, Nachshon. Great start here, but where are we going next?
Well, I mentioned before the drainage channel below the road, and I want to show you a very special thing. It's very exciting for me during these excavations. One little thing that makes the story really, really unique.
Let's go do it. Or we're going this way,
Yes.
Okay. Up. Literally everywhere you look here, there's something. And right here, also, we look down that manhole, now we're looking up at it.
Right, we mentioned the cover stone of the manhole going down to the drainage channel that we're standing now.
Wow.
This main drainage channel of Jerusalem of the Second Temple period, 2,000 years ago, okay? It was functioned to drain the sewage, but in the rebellion, it was more hiding place. It's hiding place. We know from Josephus, people want
The great historian Josephus, of course.
Of course. People want to eat and they want a secret place to hide.
From the Romans.
From the Romans, from other groups in Jerusalem, they come to here. And also, when they go down from the lower city, from the Roman legions, if they want to hide, they found this place, used it as a shelter. Here, as I can show you, we found also this amazing candlelight from the Second Temple time period.
So this held a candle.
From the 1st century CE.
Wow.
Okay, you can see also the charcoal here. We didn't clean it. You can see the charcoal here from the candle. Okay.
And this is you're finding things like this all the time.
All the time. It's not special candle.
Yeah.
It's not special oil lamp. But the story of it is very unique because what oil lamp doing in little places in the drainage channel. Not here. I just put it here for our talk, but we find it in this very secret place in a small niche. Using for the rebellions just to disappear.
Right. The rebels were down here, Jewish rebels hiding out as the Romans were destroying Jerusalem, sacking Jerusalem. People were hiding down here. It's dark, and they're using candles to light their way.
Right.
And the Romans, unfortunately, found them down here eventually.
Yes, and I don't know, it's one of the moments that is very unique. When we're finding things like this, it was just standing on some platform in the small niche.
Wow.
And I saw it, and it was covered with mud, and we take it out, and I thought that maybe, I don't know for sure, but maybe some rebellion stood there 2,000 years ago, hearing the Roman legions came, covered it,
put it down, covered it, and tried to walk away. Yeah.
So it's a very simple thing, but the story
The story behind it, this little piece, there's such a story behind it. Coming up, more from the incredible excavation of the Pilgrimage Road at the City of David. We get an up-close look at a 2,000-year-old coin that still has great meaning for Israel today. Don't move.
Israel faces growing threats on all sides. Hezbollah, ISIS, Iran, and Hamas never cease their attacks. But God has raised Kufi up at this moment in history to stand between Israel and those who seek to destroy the Jewish state.
Israel's enemies are on the move. As dark clouds gather on the horizon, tell the world you proudly stand with Israel. Be a courageous voice for biblical unity and moral clarity when you join Christians United for Israel. Show your love for the people of Zion with this beautiful symbol of unending support for Israel.
Wear the pin and join Kufi, a movement of over 3.5 million defenders of Israel. Call the number on your screen or visit kufi.org/pin to receive your free pin that will show your proud support for the special bond between Israel and America.
This is the latest of the excavations. This is hot off the presses, Meron, as you said.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's been some great finds here in this section of the road.
Yeah, on this section of the road, the first thing that you notice that the street is not stepped, this part of the street.
Right.
You see all the way down to the other side, about 30 meters of the street, which is not stepped. We're assuming that this place was a plaza, a big plaza, which was 45 feet wide and almost 90 feet long.
Wow.
The Siloam pool is about 30 meters from here. It's right before the Siloam pool, before they're going down or going up.
So, Meron, they would cleanse themselves in the Siloam pool, then they'd come on up on their way to the temple.
On the way to the temple.
Gotcha.
Now,
Fascinating.
Another story beside of the pilgrimage is the story of the destruction, war that went on the street. After the Romans destroyed the temple, it took them about a whole month to conquer the street. So what?
To conquer this street?
To conquer the whole city.
Yeah.
To conquer the whole city, and we know by Josephus Flavius there was actually fighting going on in the street itself.
Wow.
Both
right
in the drainage channel, where you've been before, and both on this part of the street. And we actually found some of the evidence for this fighting. The first one is what you see here is the ballistables. As you see, it's in different calibers. It's actually to calculate what the distance and what the strength you want to shoot.
So these were basically Roman cannonballs for
Roman
their time.
cannonballs, exactly.
Shot with catapults or whatever.
Yeah, it can reach up to a distance about 1,000 feet. And this is the personal weapon of the slingshots, the guy who's standing, like King David, slingshot and shooting it. And finally, this is very amazing, one of my favorites actually, are these arrowheads. We have arrowheads from both sides, both from the Romans and from the Jewish rebels. First one is the typical arrowhead of the Roman soldier. It's called the tried-wing arrowhead. This is the standard of the Roman soldiers of the Roman legion. And on the other hand, I'm holding, it's called the Scytho-Iranian arrowhead. It's well preserved, by the way. Some of it, sometimes you find them when they're really still sharp. And this one, it's likely to assume was shot by the Jewish rebels.
Wow, am I allowed to hold this?
Something else that I want to show you is, beside of these weapons, Nashon told you about the sifting. So in the sifting, we find a lot of coins, lots of coins, but sometimes we even find them in situ, in the site itself. And one of the amazing coins that we found is a coin that was found on the street itself. We find some of them, but there is one coin which was well preserved.
In the street?
On the street itself. Now, imagine yourself, as I told you, one of the descriptions of Josephus Flavius telling about the Roman soldiers driving away the rebellions from the street and scaring them away out of the city. So just imagine yourself a group of people running away here and they're just throwing anything they have. Maybe they're losing things.
Running for their lives from the Romans who are advancing.
And then in that time, you don't care what you have in your hands or anything, so you throw anything you have. So it could be that thing that I'm about to show you was thrown by one of the Jewish people that just escaped from the Roman soldiers, this thing. Now this green little piece isn't actually a coin.
It's a coin.
It's a coin, this round green corroded artifact. But as you see, this one is corroded, so I have a sample here.
Still preserved, this 2,000-year-old coin.
And I have a sample of a same coin. Now this coin has a very great meaning because one of the things that you do in the moment you're starting a revolt, you stop paying taxes and you're minting your own coins, showing your independence.
That's right.
So this coin, we'll put it here with that, this coin has few remarks in it. First, the same coin, same exact coin. First, it says the second year of the revolt, Shnat Shtayim in Hebrew.
And the revolt, so people know, 66 AD or CE to 70 AD.
Exactly.
About
so
4 years long.
4 years long. So
Temple was destroyed in 70.
In 70, yes.
Yeah.
So the most common coins are the second year coins that we find here.
Okay.
It says Shnat Shtayim in Hebrew, the second year, which means the year of 67, 3 years before the destruction. People still held this coin during the year of 70. And in the other side, you have the propaganda. The goal of the revolt itself, which says Chirut Zion in Hebrew, which is the freedom of Zion.
For the freedom of Zion.
Yeah.
That was the goal of the revolt, to free themselves of the yoke of the Romans, the oppression of the Romans.
Yes, exactly.
So they minted their own coins. They said, hey, we're not going to use Roman currency anymore. We're
going to use our own
free.
coin. Yeah.
Our own coins.
Yeah, so this is the exact one. Our general plan eventually, because this coin is well preserved,
if you don't mind.
Of course, the purpose that we left it here is that we want to clean it right here on the side, put a magnifying glass so in the future people that will walk up the street.
I was going to ask you, so you guys are going to leave it here?
We're going to leave it here. We found other coins around it, but this one specifically, because it's well preserved, we're going to leave it right here with a magnifying glass, and people can just later, when tourists will come here, they'll be able to see the coin and hear the story of the revolt.
Thanks again to our good friends at the City of David and the Israel Antiquities Authority for giving us an incredible tour of one of the most exciting archaeological discoveries to take place here in Jerusalem. We encourage you to visit the City of David the next time you're here in Israel, and also check out the great work that the Israel Antiquities Authority is doing at biblical sites throughout the land of Israel. Folks, when you combine the Bible with rock-solid archaeological scientific proof, you have an unbeatable combination. Well, coming up after the break, we're going to continue to talk some true history here on The Watchman. What was it like for a Jewish man to escape from Iran during the Iranian Revolution? Hear one man's harrowing story after the break.
With over 3.5 million members, Christians United for Israel is the largest pro-Israel organization in America. And for Zion's sake, we will not remain silent. We won't stand for the lies and political attacks that threaten Israel's safety and the future of the Jewish people in their God-given homeland. We want you to join us in this sacred movement.
The Jewish people are not alone. Christians United for Israel, I want to thank you for standing up for Israel. I want to thank you for standing up and being counted. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Israel needs you to take a stand. Join Christians United for Israel. Make your voice heard and be remembered as a defender of Israel, the apple of God's eye.
Welcome back. Kufai's Mizrahi project does incredible work telling the stories of the forgotten Jewish refugees of the Middle East and North Africa. Now, one of those countries is Iran, where a small Jewish community that dates back to the times of the Bible still leads a very difficult existence that one man was very fortunate to escape. Take a look.
This is the original Esther's Children book. It's the history of the Iranian Jews. Half of these are my family. My name is Faryar Nikbacht. I'm an Iranian Jew who've been living here in Los Angeles since 1982, when I had to escape my country. During the early 1980s, there was a revolution. There was a war between Iran and Iraq. Then there was a huge civil strife within the Iranian cities between the opponents of the Iranian regime and the Iranian regime's thugs and Hezbollah in the streets. We would see fights, we would see people killed in the streets. There was a huge sense of fear. This is how tense everything was. And of course, on top of all this, we're Jewish, and we had the problem of being suspected and being hated anyway. And it was getting worse all the time. Due to all of these problems, the government would not allow anybody to travel abroad. Everybody who wanted to get out, they had to arrange for smugglers. It took me and the group who were with me several nights to ride on our horses through the mountains of Kurdistan and end up in Turkey. This is the Constitution of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The life of a Muslim man is constitutionally worth twice as much as a Muslim woman. Now, what about minorities? According to the Sharia laws, they are worth much less. The Iranian present-day tradition has settled for half of the value of life and limb for all non-Muslims relative to Muslims. So imagine what kind of humiliation, what kind of insecurity, and what kind of fear is ruling over the lives of Jews and Christians and others in Iran today. Israel and its existence is a source of hope in the face of all the humiliation that people like us have had in societies where we were humiliated and we were discriminated against.
Folks, what a story. Check out more of the Mizrahi Project's great videos at their website and stick around for my final thoughts on what the increase in amazing archaeological discoveries here in Israel is really all about.
Long before he was the Vice President of the United States, Mike Pence was a friend to Christians United for Israel. Now, he's helping us make Israel stronger and her people safer.
Pastor John Hagee, I thank you for your leadership on behalf of this nation and the Jewish state of Israel. And today, through Christians United for Israel, more than 3.3 million believers have raised their voices, have not been silent in support of Israel. And you can be heard in every city and town across America and in every office on Capitol Hill. And rest assured, the man down the street at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue hears you too. I have faith that with God's help and with the men and women gathered here, the best days for Israel and for America are yet to come.
Don't miss next year's summit. Join the movement and register now for the 2018 CUFI Washington Summit.
Welcome back to Jerusalem. Did you realize that some of the most significant archaeological finds in Israel's modern history are happening today in real time? Day after day, we're seeing incredible excavations at places like the City of David and elsewhere here in Israel that have the world buzzing. Ancient mosaic tiles, clay seals, silver scrolls, ancient roads, coins, and that is just scratching the surface. The discoveries are coming at such a rapid rate that it's really tough to keep up. And folks, I see God's hand all over it. We live in a time, after all, where the UN's cultural arm, UNESCO, denies the Jewish claim here in Jerusalem and on the Temple Mount, where Solomon and Herod's temples once stood. These same anti-Israel forces claim that Jesus was not Jewish, but Palestinian. The more these ridiculous claims against Israel increase, the more Israeli archaeologists are making finds that completely discredit the lies. Why is this happening? Because the God of Israel is a God of truth. And I have a pretty good feeling that he doesn't take kindly to his people and his land being targeted so falsely and unfairly. Jesus said that all that is secret will eventually be brought into the open, and everything that is concealed will be brought to light and made known to all. That's exactly what's happening every day at places like the City of David here in Israel, and we encourage you to join our team at Christians United for Israel so we can continue to bring you these frontline reports on the miraculous things that God is doing right here in His land every day. Well, thanks for joining us this week on The Watchman from Jerusalem. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.